ActionSA in the Western Cape has filed an official complaint with the Office of the Public Protector. This after a state attorney investigation into the Western Cape Deputy Speaker. The investigation found that Beverly Schäfer wrongfully used a luxury BMW X5 SUV, resulting in wasteful expenditure of over 158,000 rand. ActionSA is now calling for the recommendations in the state attorney's findings to be implemented. Let's bring in now the party's chair in the province, Michelle Wesserman, who joins us now via Zoom. Michelle, thank you for making time for us. What was the outcome of this investigation by the state attorney?
There were three findings that were made, Clement. The first is that the Secretary of the Western Cape Provincial Parliament shouldn't have permitted the Deputy Speaker to keep the second vehicle, the BMW, which she had had previously, which she was refusing to give up. The second finding was that the reasons that she gave for refusing to return the vehicle weren't valid, and that the keeping of the vehicle, the fact that there were two vehicles being paid for at the same time, resulted in fruitless and wasteful expenditure of just over 158,000 rand. And then there were three recommendations that were made by Advocate Basson, who did the report. And he said, firstly, that the Speaker must lodge a complaint with the Conduct Committee, because he said that the Deputy Speaker, breached the Code of Conduct. Secondly, he said that the Speaker must institute disciplinary proceedings against the Secretary. And lastly, and most importantly, is that the Speaker must recover the fruitless and wasteful expenditure from the Deputy Speaker and the Secretary. And that's the point that we're trying to have brought into reality, because it's not happening.
So it's very clear then as to what the expectation on the part of the Speaker was. So what are the reasons that the Speaker is given for failing or for delaying to implement those recommendations?
Yes, so we're very concerned about the fact that these recommendations are not being implemented. The first recommendation that it go to the Code of Conduct Committee did happen in May 2022. And the Code of Conduct Committee actually found the Deputy Speaker guilty and gave her a fine of about 17,000 rand. But that's not enough. There has to be a recovery. But the thing that we're really concerned about, Clement, is that in the Code of Conduct Committee hearing, what has been reported is that the Deputy Speaker asked for legal representation, and when that was refused, they said she could bring a member of the Provincial Parliament in to assist her. And she requested that Dalen Mitchell be brought in as her representative. And he did come in and represent her, and he argued that she was being victimized and that the process was unfair. And as you'll know, Dalen Mitchell then in December 2022 went on to become the Speaker. And he is now the one that is responsible for implementing these recommendations of the Basson report. And he's obviously not impartial, and perhaps that is why he's not implementing them.
Is it possible for this money to be recovered, and how could that be?
Yes, absolutely. If the internal, what the Basson report said is that the internal Western Cape Provincial Parliament policies must be implemented to recover, and then those monies would come from the Deputy Speaker and from the Secretary. There's no reason why it shouldn't be recovered. They have sufficient funds to be able to pay it. So honestly, there can't be an excuse for not following that procedure.
What do you want the Public Protector then to investigate?
So because the Speaker is obviously not implementing the recommendations, and because he is unbiased in his role, we want the Public Protector to have a look at why the recommendations are not being implemented, and to make a finding about the fact that they must be implemented. So to make a binding recommendation on the Speaker of the Provincial Parliament to take steps to recover that money. That is the outcome that we want.
Okay. Michelle Wesserman, ActionSA chairperson in the Western Cape. Thank you for making time for us this afternoon.